Welcome to another edition of Our City. This week on January 27th at 9:45 in the morning, I will be at a DARE graduation ceremony at Mabel G. Holmes School Number 5, located on 436 First Avenue, where the fifth graders will graduate from the DARE program. On January 28th at 10 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, the first annual senior billiard tournament between Elizabeth and Woodbridge. I will be playing Woodbridge Mayor John McCormick in one of the matches. There'll be food, prizes, and activities. For more information, call Troy Hudson at 820-4722. Following the tournament, then there'll be another DARE graduation ceremony at Marquis Lafayette School, number 6 on 1071 Julia Street. And also that day, I'll deliver the State of the City address for the third and final time before the Elizabeth Rotary Club in their lunch meeting at the Renaissance Hotel on Route 1. The luncheon begins at noon. For more information, you can call 352-7300. On Thursday, January 29th and 30th, I'll be with the State Chamber of Commerce on the train ride to Washington, D.C., and this annual trip provides unprecedented networking opportunities. In Washington, the participants will attend the 71st Annual Congressional Dinner, where all the participants will get to talk with their congressional representatives about the issues of concern in our cities. And on Sunday, February 1st, Black History Month will kick off, entitled Another African American Experience. This event will feature music, poetry, storytelling, art and dance, book display, and African collectives. It's held at the Stephen Sampson Center from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And every year, the organizers guarantee me that you'll be out by 6 in order to watch the Super Bowl. If you need more information concerning these events or any other events, please call our Public Information Office at 820-4124. I'm pleased to be joined on this week's show by Ms. Kenesha Basden, who is a nurse manager at Trinitas.
Yes, I am.
Kenesha, welcome to the show. And Diane Rehel, a clinical nurse specialist.
Right.
Diane, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, the first question is an easy one. February, American Heart Month, also Black History Month, so you got two of them for you, but we'll stick Black History Month as the second part of the show. So February is American Heart Month. What can you tell us about that disease, Kenesha, and how many Americans does it affect and things of that nature?
Okay, heart disease is one of the number one reasons for disability in the United States. Over 700,000 people are affected by the disease every year. When we look at men and women affected by the disease, there's over 700,000 being affected, 5 million annually being newly diagnosed with heart disease.
Now, does it affect more men than women?
The current data shows it's affecting both men and women, but the prevalence in women is on the rise, and more women are seeming
Because they got to live with men?
maybe, but more women are seeming to be affected by heart disease right now, and it's on the rise as one of the number one killers for women.
Why do you think that it's rising for women? Do you think is it dietary? Is it exercise? Or?
It's a mixture of all of those things, actually. Heart failure in women, one of the major risk factors is it's more being seen by ethnic minorities. African Americans and Latinos are being targeted more because of the high risk of diabetes, heart failure,
Right.
and hypertension.
Just
So-
real quick before we go to Diane, do you think does it affect class in any way? Those with more money, or it doesn't really?
I would say yes. Yes, because a part of the risk factor is diet modifications, the different lifestyle changes that we have. We see a higher prevalence in African American and Latinos because of diet selections, poor selection of foods, not having the funds to purchase higher quality foods that are...
And alter their lifestyle.
Yes.
And Diane, a certain age group more likely to develop heart disease.
Well, heart disease is seen more frequently in the elderly, so we can see that. But you can have, heart disease from youth all the way up to the elderly.
Now, when it strikes a young person, is it usually a birth defect, or do they develop?
There are some heart disease that are related to birth defects. Generally, we've been seeing in our area more the older population and middle age.
Now, these stories we hear about where a football player or somebody in great physical shape drops dead on the basketball court or a football game, or some young person, obviously they've been checked out to play the sport they're playing. And how do you, it's just heart disease sometimes just can
Sometimes
sneak up on
affects
you.
people that way, and you can have a sudden heart condition or sudden heart failure.
Okay.
One of the things I would add to that is lifestyle, hereditary. We cannot change our genes, so heredity has a lot to do with our predisposition to these diseases as well.
So if your parents had heart issues, there's a chance
There's a
that
chance that you're going to have a higher risk of developing it.
blood pressure issues.
Yeah.
Blood pressure issues, heart disease, you have hypertension, cholesterol. All
I know.
these
I
things
take all
that-
those pills, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
So, people shouldn't ignore high cholesterol levels,
No.
and there are treatments for it, and relatively cheap.
Right. Well, what research has shown, exercise is really very good to help not only decrease your cholesterol, but also your blood pressure, and it also does help with monitoring your weight, which are all ways of dealing with your cholesterol. So it can
And there's always, I just came back from mayor's meeting, and there's a lot of mayors who are doing things about obesity. And the mayor of Oklahoma City put his whole city on a diet, and he told them they had to lose 1 million pounds. And so the people really bought into it, and they started losing weight, and people were feeling better over it.
Well, one of the things that I found that with heart disease is that you do have to watch your diet. You want to look at having a low salt diet, low fat, low cholesterol, low trans fat. So what do you have to eat then? And what you look at is
You're taking away all the good foods.
Well, actually, you can eat fruits, vegetables, lean meats, okay, non-fat dairy products. You want to increase your grain and also high fiber.
And are there classic symptoms of heart disease? And if so, what are they?
We have classic heart disease symptoms, but I think what everybody wants to look at or understand is what about a heart attack? So with a heart attack, you would have a sudden discomfort in the chest. It can feel like a pressure, or it can feel like a squeezing. And it can also have a discomfort in your arm, or both arms, in your neck, in your back, or in your stomach. And these types of symptoms can be related with shortness of breath or not. You can also have a situation where somebody might break out in a cold sweat. They're nauseous, or they may have also lightheadedness. So these are signs of a heart attack, and you would want to get those checked out. If you have chest discomfort and one of the other symptoms, definitely get them checked out right away. There are signs of heart failure where you have a sudden increase in weight, or you may have swelling of your legs, shortness of breath without any exertion. You're not exercising or doing anything and you're really short of breath. Difficulty in sleeping without several pillows. These are all, and fatigue, are all signs of...
Diane, in your role, do you strictly deal with cardio patients?
This part of my job, no.
Just part of it?
Part of it, right, yeah.
Do you?
And I'm the nurse manager for the cardiac unit at the hospital.
So
yes.
you're really concentrated on
Yes.
cardiac issues and the risk factors, and we've gone through a lot of them. Person comes in and they're sitting with one of you. What do you tell them to look for, especially if somebody already had a heart attack?
Well, risk factors are hypertension, diabetes, elevated cholesterol, inactivity. Okay, you also would have problems with excessive alcohol and smoking. So those are the major risk factors. And then, as Kanisha mentioned earlier, there are risk factors that we can't change, which is our age, our gender, and our family history.
And someone is diagnosed with heart disease, what can they expect? Basically to be put on a diet?
Well, yes, they would have to monitor their diet. They may have also situations where they need to take special medications. They should also follow up with losing the weight. If they're smoking, stop smoking. If they have diabetes or high blood pressure, take the medications to keep those under control, and have regular follow-up with their healthcare provider.
My mother had something called congestive heart failure, and it's something where she passed away, but she was a renal patient who had was on dialysis and things just towards the end of her life. The organs gave out, but congestive heart failure is something we often hear about, and then people seem to rebound from it, whether it's the medicine or a lifestyle change. Is congestive heart something you manage, or it's something to be really concerned with, or?